This is a song that I wrote about moving to this city here, and it's a conversation between my father and I, and my wife and I, and it's called Fears.
We're in New York City, and yesterday it was warm. Today it's not warm. If my mom was here, she'd tell me to put a jacket on. She would be correct. And we are standing in Brooklyn. That's the Brooklyn Bridge. That's Manhattan. And we had an event last night in the city here in Brooklyn. And it was one that meant a lot to me. This is a city that means a lot to me, and I'm far from alone in that. A case could be made that this is the greatest city in the world. And it's also a city that's really difficult. It's cold at times, it's busy, the rent's not cheap. And so it's a place where life is hard. But there's I think people come here with the sense that it's worth it, you know, to live in a place like this. And it was cool to talk about community and to talk about the things that we tend to talk a lot about, but to do it in the context of the city, like just in the idea that community is not easy, but we feel like it's the best way to live. And maybe the same could be said about living in a place like this, just that we know it's not easy, but there's the idea that maybe it's worth it. And so it was cool to just be in a room with people that, you know, jumped on the subway or took a taxi, and just people who came from all over to spend a couple hours together last night.
Hey, we've been looking forward to this one the most. I've become one of those guys who doesn't live in New York, but like has a crush on it and talks about it all the time, and writes about it and the whole deal. And but I wanted to start with a little bit of history, like a little bit of my own story and kind of my family story. It'll be super short, so it won't be that boring. So here it is. It's on my hand. Dad's side, Twórkowski. Great-grandparents get married 1907, Poland. 1908, get on a boat, come to New York. Then like some people have babies, other babies meet each other, they grow up. 1968, Jimmy's Pizza Shop. My mom walks in the front door, and my dad's sitting in a booth with a different girl on his lap. Never met my mom before. No, it's okay at this point, like. But he realizes he's got the wrong girl on his lap, you know? So they meet and kind of figure all that out. My mom finally said, like, you need to marry me or we're gonna break up, and he was smart enough to marry her. So that's like 1976, I think. And then I came along 4 years later, 1980. And so that, I share that, hopefully, I don't know if that's interesting to you, but I just learned it like 45 minutes ago, and I felt like it was relevant to my story.
Take me to New York, come keep me. It don't matter if you're here beside me without the fears of this world. Take me to New York or keep me. It don't matter if you're here beside me without the fears of this world.
We've kind of fallen in love with this word community. Like we talk a lot about hope and help and treatment and sobriety, and we point to resources in those areas. And yet in the middle of that, we've also fallen in love with this idea of community as a solution. This idea, I think, that is really simple in terms of an introduction, just this idea that people need other people. What does it mean to love somebody? What do we do with pain? What do we do with suffering, with this idea that there's people that live with a lot of pain, there's people who live really hard lives, there's people who live very much alone. But this idea that the questions matter, and the people who live with the questions matter, and if that's us, then we matter. I think our desire is not to just show up or not to just be on the road like telling this funny story, you know, about a MySpace page or about these t-shirts, this surprising story, like not to try to impress you with our story or my story or Zach's story, but really our desire tonight is just to say that it's our belief that your story matters.
It don't matter if you're here, no. It don't matter if you're here beside me without the fears. It don't matter if you're here, no. of this world.